Would you like to know how to help a shy child participate in school? We've got some ideas for you today. When you want to help your child participate in something, whether it's school or some extracurricular activities or even things that the family is doing, I think it's important first to do a little diagnostic work. Okay, because there's a lot of reasons why children might not be participating fully. In school, for example, we know that vision problems or hearing problems or other kinds of social issues can get in the way of a child's participating. So you want to make sure that you do a nice screening and figure out exactly what's going on with your child. If they haven't been screened for vision and hearing, make sure that that happens, so that you can rule those things out. Another great thing would be to form an alliance with that teacher. Get more information and see if you can figure out just what's going on. Now, shyness specifically is a form of anxiety. There are two elements to anxiety, and these two elements are the brain element and the mind element. Your brain isn't your mind any more than your little finger is your mind. It's part of your body. It's an organ in your head, and it operates according to physiological principles. We know, for example, that the fight or flight response in your brain is at the basis of anxiety. And this is a part of your brain that's in charge of monitoring for threats. Anytime it picks up on a threat, it kicks chemicals into your bloodstream that causes you to go into the fight or flight mode. This is at the foundation of anxiety. So there's that brain component, and there's things that we can do to calm down the chemistry, but then there's the mind component. Now your mind is you. It's the thinker, it's the agent, it's the person that's inside of that body. Your mind has both a conscious and a subconscious. Your conscious is the part that you're aware of. Consciousness means awareness. Subconscious, sub means below, like subway, submarine. Subconscious, below awareness. You're not aware of what's going on in the subconscious mind. And this is typically where anxiety originates. Here's how it works. There is a common belief in the subconscious mind that supports every fear or anxiety. And that belief is, I can't handle it. Yeah, that's true for adults, it's true for kids as well. This belief subconsciously that we can't handle something is what triggers the threat mechanism that gets our brain fired up, and then we get into the fight or flight and the chemical party that happens with that. So just think about this whole problem as having those two elements. There's the brain part that's triggering chemicals into the bloodstream. There's the mind part that's actually triggering the brain to trigger the chemicals into the bloodstream. So we're going to address both of those as we talk about our kids and how we're going to help them to participate in something that's causing this fight or flight response for them. Now let's talk about one of the classics. One of the classic models for anxiety, including shyness, is the approach avoidance model. Now this is a conflict that comes up when we want something, and so that's the approach part of it, and we don't want it because of our fear or anxiety. That's the avoidance part of it. The short version is your child, and you for that matter, have reasons to do something and you have reasons to not do something. That same thing. This is that approach avoidance conflict that I was talking about. We need to overcome the avoidance and support the approach if there's something that we want our kids to do. I have to tell you an example of one of my colleagues who was working with a young man who was about age 12, 13 years old, and he was in the Boy Scout program trying to earn a merit badge that required swimming. And this kid was afraid of the water. What's his approach avoidance conflict? His approach is that he wants the merit badge. His avoidance is he's afraid of the water. So he's stuck in this place of anxiety until he overcomes the avoidance with the approach. All right? So my colleague, who's a psychologist, was working with him, and in the office he was getting him geared up for and prepared for actually facing this fear that he has. Now, incidentally, let me insert this here. When we avoid something, it gives us an immediate feeling of relief, but in the long run, it actually increases our anxiety about that thing. Why? Because of fuzzy logic. There's a little piece in our mind that says, oh, that thing really must be dangerous because look how much better I feel when I avoid it. Do you see how that's fuzzy logic? But our mind will do that and actually reinforce the fear and the avoidance response because we feel so much better when we do in the short run. In the long run, it increases anxiety. What if we approach that thing? If we approach that thing, our anxiety increases in the short run and then decreases in the long run as we find out that we can actually handle it. Remember, the belief at the root of every fear is that I can't handle it. When we debunk that myth and we find out we can actually handle it, our fear decreases. So approaching something that we fear increases our anxiety initially, but decreases it long term because we convince ourselves that we can handle it. So there's this dilemma that we have. We feel better when we avoid something at first, but that increases our fear. We feel worse when we approach something at first, but we feel better in the long run. Helping our kids to understand that sometimes is part of the battle, but we also need to address the approach avoidance. Let's go back to our friend who wanted to swim to get his merit badge, okay, but he's afraid of the water. My colleague eventually got him to the point where he came to the pool with his psychologist. They're standing there on the side of the pool. He says, you don't have to get in. I just want you to be there and start facing, the environment and get used to it. Well, unbeknownst to this kid, the psychologist had a Ziploc bag in his pocket that inside of the bag was a $50 bill and a rock. And he had zipped it sealed so that it was ready. You can see what's coming, can't you? As they're standing there on the side of the pool, my colleague takes the bag, flips it out into the water. About 5 feet of water. It sinks right to the bottom. There's a rock in there. And this kid's watching like, what? He says, yeah, that $50 bill, it's yours if you want to go get it. Now, what did he do? He just increased the approach pull by $50. He had worked this out with the kid's parents beforehand. Now, he's still avoiding the water because he fears it, but there's a stronger pull to go there because of the $50. Well, what happened? He went after it. He already wanted to. That just overcame the hump, the approach avoidance barrier, if you want to call it that. And he was able to get in the water, retrieve the $50, which was a great experience for the kid. But what did he learn in the process? That he can handle it. So I'll give you 4 steps that you can apply to address the approach avoidance thing with your child. Step number 1, give them a challenge. Give them a challenge that they can handle. You know they can handle it. They're not quite sure yet if they can. We're going to address that belief head on. Give them a challenge that they can handle. Step number 2, you have to take yourself out of the rescue loop. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Because when you ask your child to do something that's hard for them, what's your natural tendency as a parent? Oh, you want to take care of them. You want to help them. You want to protect them from the fear that they're going to be experiencing. Take yourself out of the rescue loop. Step number 3, let the consequences happen that come with their choice. Okay? They're going to choose to either approach it or avoid it. You let the consequences happen. Do not steal this learning opportunity from your children. And then step 4, you affirm their courage by giving them the same task again. Whether they blow it or not, you're going to give them another shot at it. I had a family who was working with their young son on speaking, okay? And this is a special form of shyness that we call selective mutism. And this child would talk to his friends and his brothers and sisters, but never said a word at school or in public anywhere. So to get them to participate in this, let's just take a look at these 4 steps, the way that this family applied them. The task, the challenge that they gave this child was to order his own ice cream. They were going out to an ice cream shop. Everybody gets to order their own. They get to have and enjoy whatever they order. Now, normally this kid would defer. No, he's not going to talk to anybody. And mom would rescue him by ordering for him, right? So we set this behavioral experiment up for the ice cream shop. They went in. The kid knows he gets to have whatever he orders. They go through each of the kids and mom and dad, and they all order what they want, and it's his turn. What does he do? He clams up, looks at mom, right? Because he's shy, he's nervous, right? Mom was awesome. What's step 2? Take yourself out of the rescuing loop. She did beautifully. As she just waited and patiently and didn't remind him. Don't remind. We call it reminding. They call it nagging. Right. I'm not going to do that. So she just patiently waited for him to do whatever he was going to do. Approach, avoid. It's up to you. Now he's going to feel better initially by avoiding it because that gives him some relief. But in the long term, it's not going to help, is it? He didn't order. Mom paid for the things that were ordered. Everyone enjoyed what they had ordered. This little boy got none. Which is sad, right? Now use empathy with that. Connect with them. Oh, buddy, you've decided that you wish you would have ordered it. You know, you're going to connect with him in an empathic way, not in an I told you so way. Let's not go there. But then what's step 3? So we're going to let the consequence fall. That's step 3. Step 4 is to affirm his courage by giving him the same task again. Not right now, but maybe tomorrow or the next day. We're going to try this again. Now you get to have anything that you order. Do you see? Setting up the same thing. He gets to learn from his experience and overcome that fear so that he can not let the shyness rule his life anymore. So I'm curious, how did you like today's video? I'd really like to hear from you. Put some comments down below or click a thumbs up if you've liked it. We'll be back with more content tomorrow. If you have ideas about what you want us to cover, send me a message.